Good evening. So I had a few technology challenges and that, but I just want to welcome Juanita. How's it going, Juanita?
How's it going, Tony?
Um, so tonight's discussion or topic was gratitude, and I was actually just thinking about it now. We've actually got a lot to be grateful for in South Africa at the moment. We've got alcohol back. We've got cigarettes back. So
Yes,
we've
yes.
got so nobody in South Africa can complain that there's nothing to be grateful for today. There's lots to be grateful for. So yeah, I actually got an article that I want to just go through also with Tony Robbins, just explaining gratitude and the actual mindset behind it, because it's not just about being all fairy and being grateful just for the sake of it. There's actually a mindset that comes attached to that, which is I didn't even think of that actually. Only when I read this, I realized was the fact that it's when you're grateful, you're coming from a mindset of abundance.
Yes,
Yeah, and I
yes,
didn't. Did you know that? Okay.
yes, yes,
No,
yes,
so I
yes.
never actually clicked on that part. So
Yeah, yeah.
that was something I actually learned for myself now. Was
Mm.
that yes, when you're grateful, you automatically come from a place of abundance. If you come from scarcity, that's when you're typically not grateful because you're coming from a scarcity mindset.
Mm. Mm.
So that was something interesting that I saw there. But and it was just saying that typically we we automatically just come from a place of negativity. Almost like our brains are wired that way. That it's a lot easier to be negative than what it
It's
is to be positive.
100%, yes,
Yeah,
yes, and that's why you see, and that's why it requires work and effort, and that's why it requires a consciousness, and that's why you've got to be conscious of the fact, and and go and think about it, and so eventually it comes naturally, but because it naturally comes to us be focusing on the negative rather than the positive. Sorry, I just have our puppy in the background here, so he's
I
chasing
can
his own,
I
own
can
tail.
I can. Yeah, it's happy hour.
Yes, correct. And so yeah, so I've got to be grateful for the interruption, hey. And so that's very important for us to understand that it isn't something that comes naturally to us. We're always focused on the negative first, and we have to go and think about what the positive is in every situation. So 100% correct, yes. I was very fortunate to and now I've got to think back because time goes so fast. I think it is yeah, we went so 3 years ago. I
Yeah.
when Philip and I went to GoPro for the first time, we obviously had the opportunity to be exposed to Tony Robbins, and we had a 3 hour session with him, and of course he talks about all of that. I mean, incredibly powerful, really, really incredible. So yes, so of course I've been exposed to his teachings before, and as I say, so it's a consciousness that we have to create and develop for
Yeah.
ourselves.
I wanna actually just. I mean, at the end of the day, we all know that I'm not the making this stuff up myself or came up with any of these ideas. Obviously, it comes from somewhere else, and
Yes,
all I'm doing is, and I suppose you as well. All we're doing
yes,
is just sharing what we've learnt and sharing who we've learnt it from and stuff like that. So it's
correct.
so I just want to read a section of this article actually where he says that the mind is not designed to make you happy; it's designed to help you survive. It's always looking for what could hurt you, and it
Yeah.
magnifies the bad. We are wired
Yes.
to operate out of a place of scarcity and fear. But here's the thing: you have the choice of what you can focus on. Remember, what's wrong is always available, but so is what's right.
Right. Correct. Correct. And they say about that that it actually stems from when we were still hunters and gatherers,
Then
and
it
that's where
served
that
us.
stems from. Correct. And so then that was really important thing for us to have. But of course, now with modern age, it's not something that we necessarily need to have. and so we actually have to now change that, and we've got to be more focused on the abundance and the good in our lives, rather than the scarcity and the fact that you've got to look out for a lion or whatever could be jumping from behind a bush. We don't live like that anymore, and that's really where that comes from. So that's why it's naturally in us, and why we have to work on it all the time.
Yeah, which is quite interesting that our brains are basically wired like that.
Right.
So
That's it.
I think it also gives you peace of mind in the sense of that it's perfectly normal as well. That don't worry, there's nothing wrong with you. You don't have a manufacturer's fault in you or something like that. It's part of us or whatever.
Yes.
And then also he goes on saying limiting beliefs. So he says here, limiting beliefs and cultivating an attitude of gratitude. So limiting beliefs are unconscious beliefs we hold about ourselves and the world, which we allow to prevent us from enjoying our lives to the fullest. For example, if you are unconscious belief, you have an unconscious belief that you do not deserve happiness, understanding how to express gratitude will not come easily. So again, something that's wired inside of you that basically forces it.
Correct, and and that talks about the things that our parents often instill in us without us even realizing. And and if I just think about some of the things that my folks used to say, and the one that I think probably most parents say to their kids is that money doesn't grow on trees. And if you and I think if you have to have a few people in the room, most of them will probably say that all of their parents said that. And but also, if we start going and unpacking the things, those are the things that our parents reinforce with us over and over and over again. And that's why the way that we speak to our kids and what we say to our children, we also have to be very mindful of that, because it creates the attitude of scarcity. Because when you say money doesn't grow on trees, it means that it's not freely available. It's difficult to get it, and that's just the thing. So you have this mindset and thinking, and you grow up with it like that, and you think to make money must be difficult, because that's what we've been told the whole day, all our lives as kids, and everything else that your parents said to you over and over again. So it's quite fascinating when you start talking about those things, and you don't actually realize the impact that you have on your children and the things that you're saying to your children. And so sometimes we need to go and sit down and actually go and think about the things that we repeat to them over and over again, and think about, what is it that I'm saying to my children, and is that negatively based or is it positively based? Very important thing to do.
Yes. Yeah, I think, we say a lot of things like that you don't even realize it. And I think touching from last week and stuff, I just, like I say, going back to the gratitude thing, is that it's quite interesting that there's a lot more to it than just waking up and being thankful for everything. It's not, you're missing the point. And I think a lot of us miss the point on that one, that, for instance, if you've got this attitude of, money doesn't grow on trees, that doesn't come from a very grateful mindset.
No, not at all.
Because again, you're focusing on what you don't have, probably that more than what you do have, and like you say now, it all sort of ties into each other.
But Quentin, if you think about it, most of us do that. We tend to focus on the things that we don't have. We don't focus on the things that we do have. And that's where the abundance comes from. So if we can focus on the things that we do have, rather than what we don't have, we will attract more into our lives. And that's the important thing. So if I keep on thinking about, I don't have this, I don't have this, I don't have this, I don't have this, how can abundance be attracted into your life? Because you're just thinking, I don't have. And that's what gets put out there into the universe. And that's why it's really important for us to go and sit down and make a list of the things that we have, and there are lots of things. There really are. We just need to really go and think about them. It doesn't naturally come, So I was reading an article early on, and they actually come and they say what you need to do is go and unpack the things that you say you don't have, and list them and write them down. And then you've got to do the exercise and go and list the things that you do have.
Okay.
And you're going to find that the list of saying what I don't have is going to come much easier than the list of that what you do have. But if, as you work on it and you start thinking about it, the list of what you do have will be far longer than the list of what you don't have.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting.
Yeah, because I can, you know, speaking for myself or whatever. Also, at the end of the day, if once you start with it, you know, it's an exercise because you've actually been trained so long to do it like that.
Yeah.
It's years of stuff that you have to now refocus and try and. But when you do and you've done it for a while, then all of a sudden you do find yourself being grateful for things, and it's usually the stupid small things more than anything else or whatever. And it almost then it becomes, when it starts becoming natural like that, it's also the feeling that comes with it. You know what I mean? It's like a genuine, deep gratitude. You know what
exactly.
I mean? Yeah.
And it is a feeling from within that you develop. You know, so 100% right. You know, and you know, the more grateful we are for what we have, the better we will actually feel about things.
Yeah.
And the less focused we'll be on the things that we don't have.
So he also goes on. Yeah, I'm literally going to talk us through this article. I think, otherwise I'm going to be cutting places in it. But then he also goes on and is saying, beginning the hard work of replacing your limiting beliefs with an attitude of gratitude will reveal how your beliefs impact almost every area of your life. I think that's what we just sort of touched on now. Is that you start realizing how it impacts everything else. It's sort of a ripple effect, and I didn't realize or didn't think of it like being tied in like that into all these other things. This is because our beliefs grow from a combination of life experiences. Our knowledge base, which you're talking about, life experiences, for instance, life experiences get forced upon us, like money doesn't grow on trees and stuff like that. Results of our past actions and how we envision our future. Yeah. So, yeah, it becomes from a place of scarcity, right? And then obviously, I mean, if you're coming from that place, then you can't expect to have more when you're focused on what you don't have.
Exactly, because then you can't imagine. You know, because you have these deep dreams, but how are you going to realize those dreams if you're thinking that I can never have those things? Because you're already starting off saying,
you're already down now.
So what's the point? You know? Yeah. So therefore, if you're going to dream about stuff, you've got to really dream about the fact that you can achieve it and actually have it. You know, there's no reason why you can't. You absolutely can. You just really have to believe it, because I just often, when you're focusing on the negative, it's been so many times it's been proven that in our own circumstances how we attract that negative into our life, because we're thinking it and we're so focused on it, it ends up happening. We're making it happen. So if we can make those negatives happen, why can we not make the positives happen? So start then reversing that and focusing on the positive. Instead of the negative, the thing that we don't want. So we say, don't do that. So a prime example I always find is that on the golf course. I've seen that. Okay?
Don't hit it in the water. Don't hit it in the water.
That's exactly. The guy will come onto the tee box and he will say, every time on this, I put it in the water. What happens? He hits the ball and he puts it in the water.
Yeah.
Because he's said it. He's you know, and now he needs to go and uncondition that. And so he's just reaffirming that every single time he gets onto that hole. And so that's, you know, it shows you actually how powerful your mind is.
Yes.
When that happens, and we really have to realize the power that our minds have over what we do and what we say. It's really phenomenal. It's incredibly powerful.
Yes, yeah. No, cool. And then also goes on to say replacing limiting beliefs with an abundance mindset, and that all comes back into gratitude as well, because that's where it starts. You can't have an abundance mindset without being grateful. It's sort of step one and
Yes.
then you can only move on, because if you're focused on all the stuff that you don't have, that's not an abundance mindset. I hope I sound like I'm talking in a big circle, but it makes sense in my head.
Yeah.
Yeah, to overcome your self-sabotaging beliefs, but put yourself in a positive mindset by making a list of things. That's exactly what you just said. Things you're thankful for. I suppose when you start writing that out, also, and like you say, I know exactly what you're saying. When you start, and your negative list is
It's
35
quick.
pages long, and then when you come to the positive, it's like two lines down, and you're stuck.
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly that. 100%. Yes.
But
And
yeah, I think we also got a misconception of that you have to be grateful for big things. Like, I've done this or whatever. And like I said, no, it's actually the stupid small things that you feel more
that's
grateful for. They're waking up and for being healthy, and especially in this kind of time or whatever, not having
well,
issues like that.
the thing is that you can the things is like you say is when you wake up every morning is to thank you for the fact that I could wake up. But it's also more about the fact, that when I open my eyes, I can see. When I'm conscious, I can hear. I can hear birds. I can hear. It's the little things that we take for granted. And for me, this period of COVID have really highlighted the things that we all take for granted enormously. We all took for granted the fact that we could just go and visit family and friends whenever we wanted to. We took it for granted.
Yeah.
And suddenly it was taken away from us, and we realized how important those things are to us. The fact that we could just go and socialize with friends when we wanted to, and suddenly we couldn't do it anymore. It's all of those things. So I think for me, COVID, the positives that are coming out of COVID is exactly what are the good things that I had in my life that I didn't even realize I had.
So I
And
just
go and
quickly, sorry, Juanita. I just want to. So Celeste's just made a comment here. She says, "I do a gratitude journal every day."
yes.
We'll touch on that now, Celeste. I want to share on that also. But you were saying, Juanita, sorry.
Yes, so I'm just saying, so during COVID, they are, the news focuses on the negatives. We talk about the negatives and how crap it is and how it's this and everything else. But let's go and turn around and let's focus on the positives of COVID. And for me, one of the positives that's come out of it is the fact that it's made me realize that there are so many things I just took for granted and I didn't even think about it. I didn't even realize it. The fact that I could get in my car, I could drive and I could go visit my daughter, I could go and visit someone. I just took it for granted. I never thought about that. So that
Yeah.
is a thing that's on my gratitude list. Is thank you that I have the ability to be able to go and do that. And
Yes.
until COVID came along, it wasn't something that was ever on my gratitude list. But believe me, it's there now. I'm grateful for that. And the same with the fact that we have at one stage no one was going anywhere. Our cars stood in the driveway for 3 weeks. You couldn't get into a taxi if you wanted to go somewhere. So so in all of those scenarios, there are so many positives that we've got to go and find and look for, because they're there. They're absolutely there.
The,
We just need to go and
the
find
thing
them.
the thing with it is it's you get more of what you focus on, that whole situation. So the more you
Correct.
start trying to do it, eventually when you've done it a month or 2 or 3, sometimes I mean, I might be a slow learner, so it probably takes me a bit longer than the average person. But I mean, for me, it's taken months for me to actually naturally have it, because I mean, you can look around and find a million things on why not to be. Yeah, so like Celeste was saying now, a gratitude journal, and it's quite. I was actually going to mention that also was, Robin Banks also speaks about that, writing down every single morning 5 things, and also in the evening before you go to bed, because he also talks a lot about when you go sleep, and your subconscious doesn't stop, and that's where your subconscious is still running and stuff like that. So at least when you go to bed at night, think of 3 things that you're grateful for, and go to bed with a grateful mindset, because your subconscious is very important, because your subconscious in the evening when you sleep still kicks in, and it's actually
Exactly.
working overtime, or that's when your subconscious is working. So it's really important on making sure you don't go to bed with basically a cuck attitude, if you want to call it that.
Well, it's about how you start your day and how you finish your day. So if the first thought that is in your mind is a negative, that's how you're going to start your day.
Yeah.
And then you're going to get out of the bed with the wrong foot. And then maybe you need to get back in and just readjust and get out with the right foot.
Or just stay in the bed for the whole day, right? No, I'm joking.
Exactly. But that is absolutely what it's about. It's about how you start. But, Quentin, it's about how you choose to start your day and how you choose to end your day. Because it is all a choice. So if the first thing that comes in my mind is a negative thing, and that's what I choose to continue to focus on, then that is how my day is going to be.
100%.
That's the key, is the choices that we're making. We think that we're not in control of those things. We absolutely are in control of those things.
Well, if you're not cognizant and aware of it and stuff like that, you're running on autopilot. So you're not.
Yes.
You do have control, but you don't have control, if that makes sense. Until you take control again. Yeah.
Control, correct.
But
correct.
Yeah, you definitely have the choice to decide on what was that saying? I don't want to mess it up now, but the thing of basically it's not so much what happens or the things that happen, but more the way you react to those things, which dictates where you're going to end up. So shit happens to everybody. Cuck happens, this happens, whatever. You don't have control over. And I actually did that's where this. I remember now. I did a live about this, and I spoke about. And funny enough, it was about the alcohol thing when that was taken away. You don't have control over that.
No.
You can whatever, complain about it, do whatever. You don't have control over it. However, you got control over how you deal with it. Go make a pineapple beer if you want a beer or whatever the case may be. Don't go buy illegal beer. But yeah, depends how you deal with it. So yeah, it's exactly that.
That is absolutely 100% spot on. Is how you choose to deal with it. And I always say to and my daughter gets quite upset with me. Always, I always say to her, I say to Dominique, so what you're complaining about now? Can you control it, or can you change it? No, I can't. So I said, so what is it? So how does it help you that you continue? Maybe it makes you feel better for a couple of seconds.
Yeah.
But if you carry on and on and on, eventually it just consumes you. Because that's all you're talking about. So I'm not saying never go and complain about something. Get it out there, but then realize, okay, I've said it, it's done, finished, move on, okay? Because I can't do anything about it. I can't do anything about what the government decides to do and not do. What rules they decide to change today or tomorrow. Are they going to come and say, okay, well, in a week's time we're not doing this anymore? That's not in my control.
Yeah.
But exactly what you're saying is how I choose to react to it, and the way that and my attitude around that is what I am in control of. And that's the key aspect, is that we all have to go and say, okay, can I change this thing that I'm so complaining about? Yes or no? If I can't, then move on and find the thing that you can. That's the important part.
It's quite funny. As we're going through this article, we're actually talking about this stuff just before, because you're gonna think I'm talking cuck now, but basically the next point on this article is an attitude of gratitude, the role of change. Life will never go as planned. There will always be undesirable surprises.
Yes.
Change is inevitable, and we must learn to embrace change. The potential for transformation is present in every change life throws our way, whether or not we choose to embrace it. So pretty much just recapping, I think what we just said about that, things happen.
They do. They absolutely do. And just because you're living a life of gratitude doesn't mean that the bad things are not going to happen, or the negative things, they're going to happen. It's about how you choose to deal with them when they do happen. It's 100% correct.
Yes.
And I've just seen it so often, even in my own life and my own experiences, is that that and I don't necessarily want to go into all of that, but I'm through circumstances in my life, I've realized that I can choose to either go and sit in a corner and feel sorry for myself about what's happened in my life, Or I can realize that tomorrow the sun's going to come up and then life is going to carry on.
Yes.
And I've got to choose, am I going to sit in my hole and feel sorry for myself, or I'm going to get up, dust myself off, and just take the next step because tomorrow the sun comes up and life carries on. So what do I want? Which one am I going to choose? This negative one that is really going to destroy my life, or the one that is really going to be tough because it's going to be difficult to pull up yourself and dust yourself off and carry on. But that's the one that you need to focus on, because you need to move forward, because life's going to move forward.
Yeah.
It's going to leave you behind if you don't.
So I'm just going to carry on. We're almost at the end of this article, but rather than be derailed by unexpected changes in our lives, we must learn to approach change with curiosity. Begin practicing an attitude of gratitude by softening to change, letting it in without a fight, rather than telling yourself that you have either lost something, have less of something, or will never have what it is that you want. Make the command decision to focus on adopting an abundance mindset and focusing on what you can be grateful for. So yeah, again, like you said right in the beginning or whatever, there I would take out of that, it's a choice. Again, it's a decision.
Yes, everything is a decision. Everything is a decision. It's the decision, like I just said, it's the decision to feel sorry for myself and sit in my corner and destroy my life, or get a decision to say, okay, well, I understand that tomorrow the sun's going to come up and life's going to carry on, and so how do I want to live my life for whatever's going to come?
Yes.
It's a choice that I make at that point in time. It's absolutely 100% right. It's all about a decision that we make. And sometimes, and people will say, "Yo, but I didn't choose for this to happen with me, or to me." Maybe you didn't choose that, but maybe your negative thoughts did bring that into your life. And we don't consciously choose to bring bad things into our life.
No, 100%.
But bad things are going to happen, and sometimes, because we're focusing on the negative, we attract those bad things into our lives, and sometimes bad things just happen. That's just how life is. And how we then deal with that when that happens is the important part. Are we going to allow that bad thing that's happened just to destroy our life, or are we going to learn from it and move forward?
Yeah, I suppose if things are gonna happen during the day or in your life, you might as well be happy while it happens, because it's not going to change the things necessary that happens. Although, like you're saying, you'd be surprised how many things will start changing just by that mindset, or that feeling or emotion of being grateful continuously and stuff like that. Even when crap happens, you just tend to. It's not as bad as what it would normally be.
Correct. I think what happens is when you focus on the negative all the time, you're making a mountain out of a molehill, because you're just making that thing bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and eventually it is a mountain.
Yeah.
But actually it started as this little molehill, but because you kept on focusing on it, and and just like, okay, I'm finding more and more negative around it, it just becomes bigger. So I've said that in some of our previous chats, is that you all these sayings, they just. But the reality is, if you think about this one, that's where it comes from, making a mountain out of molehill. It's absolutely what it is.
Yeah.
And we're making the mountain. It's not necessarily a mountain when it arrives at our doorstep.
Yes. I know, because that's why you can see a lot of different people react to different things at the end of the day. Some people, this one thing derails them completely and it throws them off, and the whole world come to an end, and next it's like, dude, it's not that bad. Get on with it, and tomorrow they're onto something else, or they're doing something, or whatever, they're moving forward. Other person still crying about the same thing a week later, months later, still stuck in that thing. And
exactly.
There's no ways you can move forward like that. It's impossible. So
exactly, yeah.
I'm just going to read this. This is the last paragraph here. I'm basically just saying, having an attitude of gratitude doesn't mean you are repressing your emotions. So like you said, no, it's not that we're saying don't ever complain. You have you offload for a minute or two and then move on. You need to express things and let them out, but it's not. I think what we're talking about is not this. It's not a continuous
Well, don't let it
carrying
consume
on.
you.
Yes, consuming
Yeah.
is the right word. Yes,
Yeah.
consume
Yeah.
you. Yeah. Emotions or living in a state of denial. It simply means you're making the overarching decision to live in a beautiful state every single day, no matter what happens. So that's what I was saying now. If crap's going to happen, you may as well be happy while it happens.
Yeah, exactly. Correct.
Because if the only time you are happy is when things are going your way, you're not going to be happy often. I think that pretty much sums it up. Boof! There's your elevator pitch, one liner.
That's it. That's it. Exactly. And that does sum it up beautifully. Absolutely. Right.
And the more you start make sense, or the more you start to make these subtle shifts, the more you can cultivate an abundance mentality. The more you will begin to experience joy and eventually create a new emotional home. So yeah, I think that pretty much sums it up in a good way. I'm actually going to put this in the comments box.
Yeah. A great article, and I think a good share. And an important thing for people to realize.
Yes.
We are in control of our own lives through the choices that we make. Whether the bad comes or the bad doesn't come, it's like we said, it's how we deal with the bad when it arrives.
Yes.
Am I going to let it consume me?
100%. Yeah. All right, cool. I think that's it. I think you left it off on a good note there, or whatever. I think I hope everybody gets some value out of this. I know I got a value out of this article and stuff like that. And we will be next week, same time on this live. Juanita, thank you so much again for joining me on this and this. I really appreciate it. And,
pleasure. Thank you. I always enjoy it, and it's nice to be able to just chat and bounce things off one another,
yes.
which is really great.
Awesome. All right, cool. Thank you very much. Have a lekker week, and I'm sure everybody's going to have a lekker week. I know I am, because I'm going to be going for a pint this week, 100%. But yeah,
parties are coming.
Yeah. All right, cool. Have a lekker week. Cheers, guys.
You well, bye.